bit? I can move it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday.
Yes.
How you doing?
I thought you was gonna keep going. Happy Wednesday. You are tuned into Transitions, Life, Lessons, and Legacy. I am Hyacinth Henderson, here joined with my father, Mr. Robert Henderson Jr., President, Founder, CEO of the Henderson Financial Group.
We need to get some music. We used to have the music. We got to start that back. A lot of
You
things
want to
that
go
want to.
backwards?
Music is going forward.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you mean? I really do want to be able to use this and show graphs and show some things. Some more
Okay.
visual. I want to do that.
You want to build out the studio capabilities a little bit
Yes.
more.
Yes.
I think that's a phenomenal idea.
I really, really do, because some people can't
Mhm.
pick up what you're putting down
Without the visual.
without the visual.
Right. You're
So,
right.
And I really want to add to that,
Okay.
especially on the Saturday shows. Also, I want to add to that because people do.
Mhm.
A lot of people are visual learners.
So you're gonna go live and you're gonna be doing the computer and everything at the same time.
Yeah, almost like a little workshop showing them, showing them
Mhm.
exactly what I mean. Sometimes some people can't pick it up. Right, Miss Redhead, Mr. Redhead.
I think that's a phenomenal
Lawrence.
idea. Before we get too deep into the show, for those of you who are new for your first time listening to us today, first of all, thank you for joining us. For our subscribers and the people who join us every week or whenever you watch us, you're not new to this, you're true to this. Thank you so much for being here. Also, for the newbies in the house, we are the Henderson Financial Group. I am Hyacinth Henderson. I am a licensed stockbroker. They call it a registered representative, an insurance and annuity broker, and a registered investment advisor representative.
Yes, I'm Robert Henderson. I'm the president, chairman, CEO of the Henderson Financial Group. I'm also a certified financial planner. I'm also a certified tax coach, um, real estate broker, Henderson Realty, and we also have Henderson Insurance. And
Yes.
we love, love, love what we do. We bring the future, which is now, into the present. Your future, we bring it to the present right now. In that
Right now.
workshop I was just in Vancouver,
Mhm.
the name of the workshop, basically the theme was now is the future. Now is.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen you since you come back.
That's right. That's right. And Vancouver, Canada it's a beautiful place. I hadn't been there in probably about 10 years, and a lot has changed. But it's amazing. They just something shocking. If you want something shocking, this is the first place I've ever been. No, I wouldn't say the first place. No, I wouldn't say the first, because I was in Amsterdam. That's shocking. But here, I didn't expect Vancouver. The drivers that was driving us in from the airport said they just legalized cocaine. And I said, wow, that's pretty interesting. I said, marijuana is already legalized there, but they said they legalized cocaine. And I said, you just go in the store? He says, yes. And I thought that was pretty shocking. It's amazing. The world is really, really changing rapidly, and you have to keep up with it. And that's why, I want to talk about what we're going to talk about today, which is controlling your feelings. You're not your feelings.
Yeah.
Doesn't that something? Because if you ain't controlling your feelings, man, you have these thoughts and you feel like this and feel like that. Before you know it, man, you done fell down the rabbit hole, right?
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
let me quickly speak on that. Are they the first place to legalize cocaine?
That I know of.
Had you even know that was a thing before he said that?
No.
So he just volunteered this information, or how did that come?
No, because we were talking about all the different. There is so many. There's a lot of Asians.
Mm-hmm.
It's populated by a lot of Asians, Chinese, and Indians.
Mm-hmm.
They make up a good portion, and the skyscrapers everywhere. What make it so beautiful? Because you have skyscrapers everywhere on this island, but you have the beautiful background of mountains. That is a phenomenon. I love that. That's and they have the water, the lakes, and they like aquariums, and they have the fishing, they have the boating, and they have the skiing, they have the biking. It's really,
So what prompted him to tell you about the cocaine? Do you remember? Or
no, he was just saying how things have changed so much.
Okay.
And we was at Stanley Park. We went there, which is like equivalent to New York
Central Park.
But it's big like that, and people, things going on. That night they was having fireworks, and it was an amazing place. I love Vancouver in turn, but I didn't know that they just legalized cocaine. Don't tell them what's going to happen now.
Yeah. So the reason why I wanted to go back there is because, as I study and learn all about all the technological changes that are taking place, and the digital currencies and just digital society that we're moving towards. We're in it a lot.
Right.
Most people don't realize that we are already there, but we're going to deepen within that. And then I think about the people who have no idea that it's happening, and then the people who are protesting that it's happening. And I said, gosh, how are they going to get all these people on board? Well, they're going to get them on board because it's going to be easy for them to get them on board with small changes that they aren't going to realize, because they're going to be distracted by either TV, news, things like that don't have anything to do with them. Legalize marijuana, overindulging in alcohol, and now legalize cocaine. So it's not surprising to me, because it's like, where we're going, we need y'all to be so zombied out and so not in control of your thoughts and of your power, and to really understand who you are inside this human body. We need y'all to be so zombied out that all these changes start happening, and they happen, and you're like, this is just the way that it is.
Well, and it's interesting that you mentioned that, and you're saying, you must be alert. But, I remember I used to say all the time that there's three type of people. One, those who see. Two, those who see when they're told. And three, those who just
don't want to see,
will never see. Yeah. I don't care if you talk to them until you're blue in your face. Everybody fits into one of these three categories. Those who just see, I just get it, I get it. Those who say, oh, I didn't know that, it's a discovery. They see when they're told. And those who just, you could actually put it right in front of them and they can't see it.
They're blind to it. It reminds me of this weekend. The children went to see Mission Impossible. Did you see that?
No.
We went to see it. And there is so much to the average person. It's just a fun action movie. I'm like, I had my daughter Google, how old is Tom Cruise? She's like, he's 61. I'm like, what is he drinking? That's some good meditation, right? So anyway, to most people, it just seems like a regular action movie, but there were so many messages in that movie.
Yeah.
So many messages. And they talked a lot about cryptocurrency and things like that. And so after the movies, I said to my daughter, I said, your friend's still not talking about cryptocurrency, huh? 2 years ago, I put you on to digital currencies, blockchains, and stuff like that. I said, I hope you've been studying and reading the books that I've been telling you to read. But the point is, it was in the movie just like something that was normal, something that was regular. Also, all the other messages there. And I'm like, gosh, 90% of the people who are here don't even know what's happening.
There's a lot of subtle messages.
But that's how it has to be, because if not, then you have people protesting and we're not going to do this. Well, you don't even think freely enough to say what you're not going to do, because you're always doing what somebody else tells you to do.
Well, in the ancient writings, the scriptures, the holy book, it's Jesus said that. He said he spoke in parables for those that can hear and those that can see. Most people won't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, just like I see all these so of course they launched FedNow, and then now when I'm like on YouTube, I'll see all these ads for a new payment, get money in minutes and things like that, right? And it's these new companies, and when I see it, I'm like, oh, they're using blockchain. The average person don't know what blockchain is.
Never heard of it.
Doesn't even know what it is. And I'm like, oh, that's blockchain technology. Okay. All right. So you keep talking about what's not going to happen, but until you open up your eyes and decide to be a seer and decide to learn and decide not to be controlled by your feelings, which is what today's show is really about, then things are going to be happening. You ain't even going to realize it happened. You'll just look back. I look back and I'm like, dang, the pandemic was 3 years ago.
Isn't that something?
Can you believe it? It seems like just yesterday.
It seemed like it was yesterday. It was 3 years ago. We're in 2023, and we're at the 7 o'clock hour. I look at each year. I look at it 12 o'clock being December, and January being 1, and in March being 3 o'clock. 6 o'clock halfway through. That's June, and right now we're on 7. So hey, man, we almost there, and for it, we'll be in Thanksgiving, November, and which is the 11th month, and it keeps going, and it's like it's speeding up. And there's a lot of people that don't know what's happening. Like, I go back to just look at yourself, and whether you like it or not, you either in one of the three categories.
Yeah,
it's automatically. You see, or you see when most people, I think, see when they're told, but there's an awful lot of people that just non-believers. They don't see, they don't believe. They're just floating, and and they're just going. The ones who are just don't
Want to see.
don't want to see, or happy not seeing, or just you know you are dominated. You're controlled by your feelings, because in order to be out of the three, in order to be a seer or see when you're told, you have to be in control of your feelings, because feelings um, make you do things that you shouldn't do and keep you from doing things that you should. Your feelings, and most people think that they are their feelings. The five senses: see, what is the smell, touch, hear,
Taste.
taste. Um, you know, the feeling part. A lot of people do things based on their feeling. I felt like this. I feel like doing this. Or I feel like, or I do not feel like doing this. And when you letting your feelings drive your life and take the steering wheel, then oh my God, because feelings is an emotion. It's temporary. And if you go throughout your life letting temporary emotions and feelings control you, you're going to be all over the place. It's going to be really hard for you to focus, be committed to anything, and have discipline to anything, because feelings really dominate. It's like having sugar. It's like sugar. You know what I mean? I mean, because it feels good, but it makes you drift. You cannot be focused and accomplish a goal if feelings are dominating you. Are you feeling this?
Yeah.
You picking this up?
I'm picking up what you're putting down. It reminds me of a conversation I was having. Was it Monday? What's today? Wednesday? Maybe
Wednesday.
Monday night. One of my daughter's friends came over and we were talking, and I said, well, if you let your feelings drive the car, then logic is in the back seat. So let's just talk about that. Like, what do you want? Do you want your feelings to be driving the automobile, or do you want logic to be driving? Now, both of them are in the car because you need both of them. But you need to understand who's driving. When is it the best time for logic to drive? When is the best time for your feelings to drive? Because your feelings aren't inherently bad. They aren't totally bad. As a matter of fact, there's a book, The Feeling is the Secret, where Neville Goddard, right? Mm-hmm. Where you need to tap into your feelings and understand. The problem becomes when you allow your feelings to control you instead of realizing that your feelings are indicators. Your feelings are like the blinker where they're telling you, hey, there's something that needs to take place here. You need to give this some attention, not to be consumed by me, but give this some attention. And so let's break this down a little bit, because I don't want to kind of vilify feelings, but I also want to, because it's a part of the human experience, right? But I want to give you some stuff to think about. So when you find yourself in a space of being productive and feeling good, we call that in the flow. That means you're being productive. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You aren't doing, any low vibrational behaviors. You know what those are: the drugs, the alcohol, the overindulging, and whatever it is. You aren't engaging in those things, and you are flowing. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Maybe you're cleaning your room, you're reading your books, you're doing all this, and you're feeling so good. That's an indicator that you're going the right way. That's an indicator. Now, there are also times when you could be feeling good, but that feeling isn't really your feeling. That feeling is coming from being numbed. And not a lot of times people numb their true feelings with experiences, with vices, with substance, with television, with people, with partners. And so they don't really know how they feel. They just know that this experience, it kind of feels good, but it doesn't feel as good as if you are being productive, doing what you need to be doing in the flow. Two different feelings.
Because there's a whole market for catering to your feelings.
Yes. Yeah.
To dominate who you really are, and to mask who you really are, well, you will never find out who you really are.
Just like them legalizing cocaine.
Yeah.
Same thing. Just like when they legalize marijuana, and they legal, because there is a thing you have to think about. Because something is legal doesn't mean you should be doing it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the reason why I gave the examples of the different types of feeling good and recognizing is because when you listen, if you just listen at the surface level, you're like, oh, well, I feel good when I'm drunk, or I feel good when I'm partying. Like, okay, but is it that the alcohol that's making you feel good? Is that a long-term thing? Like, you need to break that process down. Going back to the legalization and the numbing of your feelings. it always reminds me when I see things that are going on in the world, or I read about things, or you tell me about things that are going on in the world, I always think back to when I was in high school. Goody Mob, CeeLo, had a song on the Goody Mob album, and he would always say, they're fighting for your spirit and your mind. And this was, I mean, I've been out of high school since 1999, so almost 30 years and almost 25 years.
That's a market. Yeah, they are.
And so 25 years ago, he was saying, it seems like we're fighting for our spirit and our mind. And I'm like, that is still happening right now today.
It's always been and always will be.
And so many things are presented in front of you to numb your thoughts, to numb your senses, so that you don't know how to connect with your feelings. Vice versa, when you have a feeling that is negative, or a feeling that you don't really like, or a feeling that you don't like the experience, that's an indicator, hey, maybe I shouldn't be here.
Yeah. It reminds me of this song. It says, when you see someone who's drinking is at the bar or whatever, you ask the person, hey, so are you drinking to remember, or are you drinking to forget?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Good point.
Are you drinking to remember, or are you drinking to forget? Because it deals with your feelings.
That's right.
And you're trying to either numb some stuff down, you want to zone out, to be in space or whatever. But you drinking for a reason. You're trying to get high for a reason. You want cocaine. You there's a reason. There's something internally that's happening. And the only way you know how to fix it is to numb your feelings.
Absolutely.
Isn't that amazing? I was sitting at the same workshop, this top producer also, and we were talking about business models and our clients and how we get people and that kind of stuff, and referrals and that stuff. This guy had an interesting, way of he the top producer. This guy, matter of fact, he got an award. He says, well, number one, his clients, he only deal with married couple.
Okay.
He only deals with married couple.
Okay.
And the other prerequisite for him dealing with you is you got to have kids.
Okay. I
Can
love
you believe that? He says you gotta have kids. Because I said, well, why does a married couple have to have kids? Because he says in his business, what he does, he's in the protecting. He wants to protect you. So he says, if you have kids, if you have someone you love, then that's even powerful that you want to care for them and leave a legacy and leave them with something.
Right.
And then he says he only deals with people who really want something out of life and they want to improve their life.
Okay. So he I love it. He's niched all the way down.
He niched all the way down. He got to a point where he says he don't deal with people, that like non-believers. He deals with people that saying, I want something better. So he says that's he cuts right to right. I want something better. And I said, well, what about people who you're trying to convince the husband or convince the wife to save or do all that? He says he don't deal with people that you have to convince them to save their money. Right. He said anyone who he don't care how much money they're making, but if they're just spending all their money on a life of luxury and having a good time, they're not his clients. I said, you just cut them off. You don't care. He said, because Robert, it saves me a lot of
energy.
He says it saves me a lot of energy, a lot of aggravation, a lot of frustration. He said he don't deal with that. He only deal with the people who are wanting, ready, willing, and able. They says, okay. And he says, that's what he does. He's a top producer. And he says, there's so many people out here that fit that category. I say, well, so someone like we have to say, listen, you need to stop spending every dime and credit cards. He said he don't deal with those people because they're not ready. I said, wow. So you don't give no kind of therapy or whatever. He says, none at all. And he says, there's a lot of people that just says, I need somebody who I can trust to show me the way. Yeah. That's amazing, right?
I love that.
I know you would love that.
you know what? Oh my gosh. Because I'm on the front line, right? So I talk to the people and it just makes sense to me. And I've said this before on the show. I'm like, we have so many people to help. Why would I spend my time trying to convince you? And then you don't return the intake sheets. You don't show up for the call. I'm like, what is this? But you have to stick to your guns and say, listen, I am not. And there's that philanthropist in you that's like, oh, we want to help people. And I have to remind myself, this is why we do the shows. Yeah. This is where we do this. Because if someone is not ready, it does not matter what you tell them, how you slice it and dice it, how beautiful the plan is. They're not going to do it.
Tell somebody who make $200,000, listen, I want you to save $1,500 a month. And they go, That's a lie. I never say that
I
kind of
have
money.
it all the time. I have it all the time. And the question that I always ask when I present a plan, and I'm like, okay, both of y'all working, both of y'all making over six figures. You have children, and I love that he says you got to be married and you have to have children, because then he can play on the or speak to the legacy component
Right.
and the defense component.
Right.
Because a lot of people are only focused on offense. Oh, I got to make a lot of money. I got to do this. Well, okay. What about defense? What about
Right.
if something happens? You get sick, hurt, or can't work? What about you preparing for the next generation? But I get a lot of these calls where the people are making over six figures, and when I present a plan, when I'm like, you need to pay $1,500 a month in this or $1,000 a month,
Save your money.
they're looking and
Invest your money.
and so when I start getting the pushback, I just ask one simple question: how much are you saving now? And the answer is zero.
Right. They zero.
So
He says he just cancels people. He says you're not a fit for me.
yep, absolutely. I love that. Y'all know I love that.
And the only reason why I'm talking about that, because I might want to adopt that.
I would be so happy when you adopt that, because sometimes they circumvent me and go to Mr. Henderson. Let me call Mr. Henderson.
Yeah, they do.
And it's not about us not being compassionate, because I'm very compassionate and I really, 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 really want to help people. But like the gentleman you spoke with, you can only help those who want to be helped. Because if you are trying to help someone who is not ready to be helped,
This can be frustrating.
you can, whatever you're saying to them sounds like a foreign language.
That's the three categories. That's the person who you can talk to them and they just don't get it.
They don't get it. And it's not their fault. It's not that you're good or bad. It's right or wrong. It's just you just don't get it. You aren't ready.
It's not your time.
You aren't ready for this conversation that we're having. And you think you're ready, but you still have some other things to do. That's why we started implementing things like different programs and stuff like that to help those people. But we absolutely, going into 2024, I would say let's implement that. Let's, call me after the show, Mario. Well, I have a 1:30. And then I have a 3. So call
Mario
me.
said, I need to speak to you.
Call me after
that. Mario, okay. Yes, we'll definitely talk. So today's topic, we're talking about you're not your feelings. And your feelings, you have to watch. You have to know. First of all, it's discovery. You got to believe. You got to know. You got to say to yourself that you are above your feelings. Your feelings are really just servitude to you, not the master of you. And a lot of people have gotten that flip-flop. And that's because the system, the media, has the advertisers, the marketers have Jedi mind us and put our feelings in front of us. And we are the masters of ourselves, supposedly, but we've become slaves to our feelings. And that's why a lot of us are overindulging in a lot of different things. And we are really capturing and chasing what feel good. And what feel good is not always what's best for you, because it's going to be hard for you to have a plan, have a commitment, and be disciplined if you don't have your feelings in check. Because the feelings always tell you, man, just chill out, go get some ice cream, man, just just eat more, just do this, just drink, man, just hey, let's sex more, whatever. Your feelings is right there in the forefront, man. People wake up to how I feel. That's first thing. How do you feel? And if your feelings is out of control, man, it's going to be hard for you to accomplish a goal. So when you say set a goal, set a financial plan, it's going to be hard for you if feelings is just in control, because you may say, okay, I want to take a trip from Miami to New York, and you find yourself in New Mexico because you woke up and you feel like that, or a commercial came on and said, let's take a cruise. And you go, hey, this is me. I want to be fluid. I want to be relaxed. I want to be able to do whatever I want to do. When you do that and you don't have guardrails up, if you don't have a commitment or a plan, there's no way you can accomplish it, because you're all over the place. And feelings, man, feelings is so powerful.
Yeah, they go hand in hand with the mind. So I like to say that if you aren't able, because feelings, again, I don't see them as a villain. I view feelings as an indicator. It's something that's getting your attention. And, whatever your belief is, let's say it's God or Jesus or whatever it is, if that entity came and spoke to you right now, appeared in front of you, you would be like, oh my God, I can't believe you're here. So instead, energy is so great and so powerful that our feelings can be indicators, because it's energy in motion. So when you look at your feelings as an indicator, and you have to start asking yourself, why am I feeling this way? And what is this feeling trying to tell me? What is this trying to tell me? There's always a message, because Jehovah or God not coming and saying, knock, this is what you need to do. You're going to feel a certain way, and that feeling is a messenger. And you have to tap in and say, okay, what are you trying to tell me? And in order for me to receive the appropriate message, I have also got to look at where I am. Where am I? What am I doing? And so that takes mind control as well. Because if you aren't able to step back and say, okay, I feel this way, it's not good or bad, but I'm feeling this way, and then think about why you're feeling this way, where you are and where you want to go, then that is because there's something going on with your mind. So this goes all the way back to us talking about, what are you doing to your mind? What are you allowing to control your thoughts? What are you allowing to control your mind? And mind control is so subtle. If you are not intentional about having control over your mind, you will look up and realize that these aren't really my thoughts. And so then when the feelings come up, you cannot decipher what feeling, if you should go, if you shouldn't go, what's what. Because sometimes there are feelings that will tell you, listen, you really need to get out. You need to get out. You need to get out. You need to go do something. You need to take a walk. You need to take a break. You need to do something. But you have to be able to then tap into that mind, that mental capacity to be able to look at the feelings objectively and then make a decision. But if your mind is not at a space where you can look at the feelings objectively, then we have more work to do, right? Because the feelings are always going to come up. That's the creator's way of speaking to you. One of the ways of speaking to you. So then it takes us over to the mind. What are you doing? What are you feeding your mind? What are you putting into your mind? Are you hurting your mind? Like, what is going on?
Yes.
And I think these are things that we all should be thinking about, especially right now. If you think about where we are right now in 2023 and realize that the changes that we've experienced, how often do you use cash?
Almost never now.
When I find cash, like when I switch purses and I find cash in there, it is always a reminder that it's never the money that you want.
Right.
People, and this is a beautiful reminder. It's never the money that you want. If it was, I wouldn't leave cash in a purse, after I'm changing outfits and I go back and 2 months later, I'm like, oh, I got some money in here, because it's not about the money. Let's tie this in. It's about the thing that you want that currently you need money to have.
And it comes in different forms.
And that's what people are protesting so hard. Oh, cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and stuff like that. You don't even know what you want, child. You don't even use cash.
Right.
You're using digital currency right now.
Right. Because when you think about it, for me, if I stood up right now and empty my pockets, I don't have any greenbacks, any green dollars. And I haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah.
And I remember at one period of my life, every weekend I would go and I would take at least $300 from ATM just in case, the kids, when you all would go to the movies, do whatever, man. And then I got to a point where I don't have any greenbacks. If I'm at the airport, I can't even tip the guy.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I have to remember to bring $5 or something, $10. But then now, as time go on, having green dollars on me seems to be like me carrying a beeper. It becomes more because really, like you say, it's just the medium of exchange. If you got plastic or you Cash App, I mean, like the guy, the gutters. I mean, I need my gutters repaired. The guy says, "Okay, Rob, can you send me a check or can you Zelle me or whatever?" Instantly, I said, "Okay, send me a receipt." Bam, no, it's done. My air conditioner went out. Melvin came by last night. I'm like, "Hey, how your air conditioner went out in the big part of the house?" Can you imagine? Bam, he fixed it right away. Cash App. Not Cash App, but Zelle. No greenbacks. And what? So we already into, cashless society.
So why are you So the thing is, the problem is when you hear people talking about, oh, Bitcoin's a scam or cryptocurrency's a scam or digital currencies is a scam, you have to realize who's saying that and why they're saying that to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't use cash already as it is. Yeah. So since you're hearing so much of this, it will be in your best interest to educate yourself about that. Let's go a step further from cash. When you talked about tipping the people at the airport, do you remember there was a shift? And I feel like everything is connected where we weren't allowed to tip the people anymore. At first, we could tip the sky caps, and then they were like, no tipping.
Yeah.
No tipping allowed.
Yeah.
No tipping. And so then, okay, you go inside the gate. Oh, we can't accept tips, things like that. And not only do we not use cash, when's the last time, unless I don't know if you have it set up on your phone, but for me, I don't even pull out my cards. I just tap with my phone.
Yeah.
They're all on my phone. Oh, okay, this, everything
Matter
is
of
here.
fact, there was an article today that said PayPal could be in trouble because Apple Pay is really gaining traction.
I tap everything. I'm like, okay. It's just, so the point is, if your mind is constantly being controlled by other people, you're not tapped in to see these changes happening, and you don't realize how subtly the water is, how consistently the water is rising
And you can't stop it.
and you can't stop it.
No way.
It's like you look around and you're like, dang, when I first got in here, the water was to my ankles. Now it's to my waist.
Can't stop it.
But you've been living your life. They didn't just, this is society. You didn't, as soon as you got in the tub or the pool, they didn't say, okay, it's at your ankles. We're going to turn it on full speed. And now you're drowning. No, baby, they didn't do that. It's at your ankles. You partying, you smoking, you drinking, you spending all your money being there, blowing money fast. You watching TV and you doing all the things.
Feelings.
Overindulging.
Feelings.
You're doing all of these things. And before you know it, you look up 3 years later and you're like, dang, this waist. I thought when I got in here, the water was at my ankles. Now the water is at my waist. And I didn't even realize that the water was rising because I've been in here distracted by all the other stuff that is going on. I want to feel good. I want to feel this way. And it's nothing wrong with feeling good, but you have to make sure that you have your mind running the feelings.
Right. You can't outlet your feelings.
No.
You know, and as you was talking, I was thinking about, imagine a nicely fresh cut grass, a beautiful manicured lawn.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you look at this fresh cut lawn, it's beautiful and it's green. I mean, everything is like edged right, and it just smells good. And you have grass, and you actually have weeds intertwined in there.
Mm-hmm.
So the grass will represent your mind. The weeds will represent your feelings, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to manicure that and make sure that it's equal. In other words, it's your feelings and your mind, and it's just, you know, everything's at par and it still look neat.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say if you go off and you don't attend to your garden, your yard, and a week goes by, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks have went by, you know that that grass is going to grow high.
Mm-hmm.
The weeds are going to overtake, which really weeds represent your mind and your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And for you know it, you got a little forest, it looks really bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens to a lot of people when you don't mind your mind and your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
You have to keep them in check. They do really complement each other when you are the boss. Your mind control your feelings, because you could be looking at somebody and this person says something to you. Your feelings say, I feel like slapping this person, but your mind say, don't do that, because you got to get a lawyer, you got to go to jail. That's what your mind says. Your feelings, you want to just, but see that? Every one of us deal with these two things. What you're thinking, your mind, and your feelings. They always battle each other. The problem is so many people have let the feelings run the show and the mind's down this. Because when a person says, listen, I don't feel like saving my money, that's too much money for me, I'm like, hold on, I'm asking you to save and invest your money for you, not for Sally or Tommy or Dick. I ain't never did that, Mr. Henderson. You trying to tell me you know what you should be doing, but your feelings is just so, I gotta go and I gotta eat out and I gotta go to a restaurant and I get my pocketbooks, I get my nails done. All that stuff is feeling. And remember now, one thing about feelings, how you can really check to see if it's really feelings and it's not your mind. Feelings are temporary. Because you could feel this way today, an hour later, you could feel totally different. You could feel somebody can cut in front of you when you're driving your car. You just want to, an hour later, you got a problem. You're still thinking about that happened way back there 10 miles ago. You know what I mean? You let it go and you're gone. So feelings, most of the time, are temporary. Now, I'm not talking about love. That's another powerful thing. I'm talking about these frivolous feelings. You know, like all of a sudden you're sitting down and then Kentucky Fried Chicken or Red Lobster Feast commercial comes up and you just actually move because your feelings. But if you just sit there and somebody says, no, you remember your waist is getting too big, that your mind telling you that your waist. Right. So then you sit back down and you don't rush out to Kentucky Fried Chicken or Red Lobster. But I'm telling you, it's a battle.
That little feeling. And it is. I'm glad that you brought to the conversation that it is a battle. It's I don't want you to think that me or Mr. Henderson, we're like, oh, only mine. Like, no, I be wanting to DDT some of y'all all the time. But I really think about it. I'm like, dang, the first thing you're gonna do is sue. The first thing you want to do is sue. It ain't no just a fight. I just can't knock you out. You don't want to sue me. And we ain't dealing with that. So I'll be like, okay, right. But I love the example that you gave when you talked about, and if you touch me, that's a different story. But let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. Let's
stay with the mind.
Let's stay right. It takes work. I always say to myself, people need to understand that kindness is a choice. It's not the default setting. It's not. But let's bring it back. Oh, the example that you gave with the lawn, the yard, the grass. I don't care how beautiful your grass is. You have weeds in your grass.
You do. Yes, you do.
You have weeds.
That's natural.
You have weeds. They're just a part that it comes with the grass.
That's right.
You have weeds. It doesn't matter how beautiful it is. The reason why you don't see weeds with the naked eye in one yard versus you see the weeds with the naked eye all over the place. You're like, dang, what ain't lawnman at? When they coming? Who ain't gonna haircut? Right. Association, let me write it. Is because one person is tending to the lawn more frequently than the other.
Okay, that's a metaphor, y'all. We're not really talking about grass.
Oh my God.
We're talking metaphor. This is a metaphor.
Talking about your mind, baby.
We're talking about your mind. We're using grass as an example, symbolically, but we're talking about the grass being your mind and the weeds being your feelings.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. And I'm glad that you said that. I was just going to say, as I'm talking about, because you can visualize right now a house with a pretty manicured lawn, the grass so pretty. Then over here, you're like, what's going on? The only difference, the only difference, now I'm not going to say the main, the only difference is that house on the right is tending to their lawn, whether that's putting fertilizer down, having someone come and spray it for weeds, making sure they trim it. Their sprinklers are coming on twice a day, and the other person is not tending to it.
Running wild.
It's running wild. So when you walk up, or you drive up, you can see, they got weeds, and you're going to think this person don't have weeds. They got weeds too, but they just manicuring them, baby.
Yeah.
So when I say that we have to do this work as well, we got to do the work as well. You can't see it with the naked eye because we do it on a consistent basis. So what is the work that, because I always want to give them something to do, right? So what is the work that will help you get to the space where you stop allowing your feelings to run the show and take control?
Yeah, because when you go into a bank trying to get a loan, the bank looking at your mind and your feelings. In other words, they're looking at your lawn. They want to know, are you in control or your feelings in control? So they look and you say, listen, I want to open a business and I need, $500,000. They want to look at your lawn care, no, your mind. And if you say, I don't have no money, they know feelings is taking you over and they ain't giving you their money.
Right. No way I'm loaning you. You'll have nothing, but that's why I need your money. It don't work that way.
It don't work that way.
It does not work that way.
You got to show something. You could look at someone. I listen. Show me a person that got Louis Vuitton outfit on, gold T chain, whatever, just Louis Vuitton, and I'll show you somebody who feelings have really overtaken them.
Well, if they have the whole branded outfit on, they're branded. They're walking with the monogram. I agree.
You talking about they being paid?
No, they're not being paid, but everything has to be the logo. Like they have to be. So for instance, this could be a Louis Vuitton shirt, but you wouldn't know. You don't need it to say LV all over it.
Exactly.
So you're talking about the people who are getting and
attractive feelings.
And that's the cheapest. When you go, the cheapest ones are the ones that have the logos all over it. Cause they like, we know we want to make it affordable for you. But the ones that actually don't have the logos all over it, they're more expensive.
Yeah. That's like fake grass.
But you're right. It's someone that's saying their feelings are controlling them. And look at me.
Yes.
I need y'all to see me.
Yes.
I need you to see me, everything, because I want to have the bucket hat to match the shirt.
That's a lot of weeds. That's what I see.
Overcome. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I see a lot of feelings, which a lot of the metaphor we're using. That's a lot of weeds. Look at all them weeds. So that's not impressed me ever. I've never been impressed with that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Like if I meet somebody and they first start telling me all the things that they have and what they've done, they're like, look at me. I'm like, oh no, I got the
weeds.
You got to get out of here.
Lawn,
I got to get far away
noticeable.
from you.
Yeah. You like the everything that's neat.
Right.
Yeah.
Clean cut. Low
man.
key.
Yeah.
All about your money and all about me. Oh, I got carried away.
Oh yeah, you got carried away. So we're talking today. If you all just tuning in, we want you to check your feelings because remember, you're the master. And I guess the show, we're really trying to tell you how powerful each and every one of us are in and of ourselves, within ourselves.
But how do you get to this space of doing the work? That's where we were going with this. We kind of got sidetracked of doing the work of manicuring, right? Because let's say you walk outside, you're like, all right, they talking about me. They done call the association. They egging my house. Weeds are overtaken. Where do I start? Do I just get out here and water the grass? Because if I just get out here and water the grass, the weeds are going to grow and the grass is going to grow.
No, you got to make some cuts.
Let's talk about that, because we need to give the people
gotta
something.
trim.
So first, before you can trim,
Mhm.
you have to assess.
Right.
And that assessment, I call that looking at the man or the woe man in the mirror. I also call that having that kumbaya moment. Make that assessment where you look at yourself, where you are in your life, where you want to be, where you said you was going to be, and make an assessment like, why am I not here? Why am I on July 26, 2023? Why am I here right here? I can't blame my daddy. I can't blame my job. I can't blame the president. Why am I here? Like literally, why am I here? So it's the equivalent of you going outside and standing with your hands on your hips and looking and saying, oh, look at this lawn.
Yeah.
What's going on? What do we have going on? We got weeds over here. We got some mushrooms over here. We have a dirt spot, a patch where the grass won't go. So you make that assessment. You're making an assessment of yourself. Am I lazy? Do you got some laziness, some lack of motivation, some undisciplinedness, some spite, some jealousy, some envy? What are all the things that you have in? Why are you doing that?
Oh, because they just told me my appointment is here. Tabari just told me downstairs. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, hey, keep on. I'm hearing you, but they just told me the client just to wrap early. That's all.
I have to talk to Tavares about that. Tavares, don't do that again, please. He'll be okay. As I was saying, I was in a flow.
Okay.
Then your energy just. So as I was saying, you have to assess all of the things that are in your lawn. What is in your lawn? Do you lack discipline? Do you lack motivation? Do you lack commitment? Do you lack do you have too much envy? Do you have jealousy? Are you overindulging? Do you need to clean up your diet? When we talk about your mind and your brain, you cannot think at your highest capacity with putting trash in your body. The number one thing that's going to kill your brain and give you brain fog is artificial sugar. That's a story for a different day. But as you're standing outside and looking at your garden, what I'm saying is you're assessing you. Don't talk about nobody else. I know people done did you wrong. They ain't nothing. They ain't never been nothing. Their mama ain't nothing. Their daddy wasn't nothing too. Right? We understand that, but we're not talking about them now because they're not the ones who are going to come and mow your lawn and spray the weeds. It's only you.
So when Heisey's really talking about, because some of y'all are not picking this out, I can tell. That's what Jesus said. That's what, So I'm going to tell y'all, when she's talking about your lawn, she's talking about your mind, your brains. That's what she's talking about. She's just using lawn and grass and weeds as a metaphor, just so you can get the picture, because you can relate to that. Most people can, but you have to take that and it's symbolic. She's talking about your mind, your thinking. Yeah. It's like, on HGTV, sometimes you can walk into, a house and it's all shabby, whatever. That is an indication of some mind has gone astray. It's a wreck. And a lot of people, when we get, financial planning there's some work that has to be done. But as I was saying and telling Heisey earlier, when I was just out of town, I met another financial planner, and he says that when he comes across someone who financial house is in a wreck, he only wants to deal with the ones that when he says, throw all this away, replace that, and they says, thank you, God. Yes, I'm going to do what you say. Right. There are some people that says, no, I want to keep that.
Get out of my office. Immediately.
That door is full of termites. No, I want to keep that door. Yeah. And he says, okay, you need to throw this out. You need to do this. You need to change the roof. No, I want to keep the roof. He says, you don't deal with people like that because you got to convince them. When you have to if you really want to get in shape so you can feel good, so you can have a good foundation, metaphorically, we're talking about houses, or we're talking about lawn and grass, but we're really talking about you and yourself and your control. Yeah. And what we're trying to let you know is, just in case somebody never told you, and even if you heard this once, I do believe in the law of repetition. Repetition meaning to repeat over and over and over. It's like me learning the piano. She don't like this. She's so smart. She gets it and she gone. But we all benefit from this law called repetition, doing things over and over and over and over. It's like me, this morning I had piano lessons, I'm getting better and better and better. And I just started Luther Vandross.
Really?
Yes.
This is so funny. This morning I looked at my piano and I was like, it's a shame I don't play this piano.
It really is a shame. And the piano is there for you to play.
Beautiful piano.
And it's much more than just a piano. It really exercises your your mind and your left brain. You know
I
that.
just said
You
that
should
as you
pick
were
it back
taking
up.
piano lessons.
Right.
Amazing.
And I'm doing it not because I want to
Mhm.
go out and show out and perform before someone. I'm
Mhm.
not going to play at the piano
Mhm.
in the piano bar or nothing. I do it because it really,
Mhm.
really focuses on left side of my brain. And I encourage you, daughter, to pick that back up. You have a beautiful piano. I use mine, and she just, I don't know. Is my grandson still using his? Is he still playing?
In July, since we signed him up for summer camp and he's doing tutoring over the summer and summer camp. Shout out to his tutor, Shonda. Phenomenal tutor. I don't know if she's taking any clients, but phenomenal tutor. So we kept him with tutoring in the summer and he's doing summer camp in July. In June, he wasn't doing summer camp, he kept piano.
Okay.
So he's not doing piano in July. I just let him know that in August we're going to be resuming piano. And we had a conversation. It's pretty short where he doesn't want to continue taking piano. And I remind him that he's going to continue taking piano.
Good, because it's
So,
more than just the piano.
That's what I tell. I know that it's just
Yeah.
a little bit more to do. But let's really quickly help the people as we're talking about your mind and as we're talking about. So we started this show
Commitment.
asking you if you're being controlled by your feelings, and we shed light on where many of you are being controlled by your feelings.
Most
And then,
people would say no.
yeah, but they don't know. As a matter of fact, when you were giving the example and you said, you're telling somebody what to do, and I'm like, get out of my office. What came to mind is most people are used to being coddled. They're conditioned to being coddled. So when you come to someone for advice for whatever it is, and not just financial planning advice, but when you come to someone and they give you the solution and they give you the advice, you come to the professional and you don't want to take the advice and they tell you you are dismissed. What they do is then they get in their feelings. Oh, you're wrong. You should help me. Or should I? Or do I have to? Because I tried to help you, but you wanted me to coddle you. And that's something that you have to break out of. That's a feeling, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you should be patient with me. I feel like you should do this. Hold on. This is not how this works. That's not how the real world works if you want to continue to excel and evolve. So I wanted to mention that because some of you, as you're going through this process of saying, okay, I am being controlled by my feelings in a lot of ways. I do need to level up my mind so that I can start to look at my feelings and then figure out what they're telling me and then make an intelligent decision on what I want to do with these feelings. So now I'm standing outside of my house, looking at that lawn and all the weeds and the dead spots and all the stuff like that. And I make the assessment of the things that I need to improve: discipline, overindulgence, all these things. You know what you do. You know, if you come home every day and scroll social media for 2 hours, you know what you do and then talk about you don't have time to do X, Y, Z, A, B, C. You know, if you're going out when you should be studying, you know these things, right? So once you make that assessment, then what we want you to do is to pick one at a time. Like, you can't go out there. Imagine if you said, all right, I looked at this lawn and I'm spraying the weeds while I'm cutting the grass and I'm changing out the grass and I'm patching the holes and I'm picking up the dog poop. You can't do all of it at the same time. Grant yourself some grace. What I'm saying is, when I say grant yourself some grace, I'm not saying go out there and spray one weed and then go lay down and get some lemonade and be like, whoo, I'm tired. No, if you're spraying the weeds, you're spraying the weeds. So if you're working on your discipline, you're working on your discipline. Is your phone hooked up? Pick it up. Pick it up, Junior.
Yeah. Let me see.
If you're working, if they got a phone in here, can y'all see the light flashing?
I don't know. Can you see it? I don't think they can see it. I don't think they can hear it. Hello.
Who has this phone number?
The only one who has it would be James T.
Do you need to connect it with this? Hold on.
No. You don't need
Okay.
to connect it with that.
Let me get back focused because I have a 130 actually too.
Okay.
So if you're focused on your discipline, if you're focused on whatever areas that you assessed first and made, oh shoot, you know what, I am where I am right now because of me. And when you make that assessment, just start with one thing, but be consistent with that one thing. And you can work on discipline in so many different ways. Your level of discipline shows up in your bank account. Your level of discipline shows up on your body. Your level of discipline shows up with your friends. Your level of discipline shows up with your education. Your level of discipline shows up in so many areas. So if you figure out that you need to be more disciplined, you need to look at so many different areas. When I go run, it's not because I want to be the best runner and be the next FloJo. It's because I want to be disciplined.
Well, that means that you are crushing your feelings. Because
Exactly.
nobody feel like running.
Right.
Like last night, I went and did 14 miles. Excuse me.
Hold up.
No. That was the night before on my bike.
Oh, I was gonna say you was riding.
Last night I did 4 miles of running.
Okay.
Right.
All
Right.
right, Junior.
Right. So, but I didn't feel like
Right.
running no 4
Right.
miles. So therefore, my feelings was like, nah, man, let's chill out.
Right.
But my mind says, no, we getting ready to
Just do this.
do this.
Yes. Yes.
So that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to master yourself, and it feels really good. You really feel good
Yeah.
when you are the master and you really control. You know,
Yeah.
you really do. So you should try that. Just try little small steps, saying
And
no,
be consistent.
I'm
Yeah.
going to do this. I'm not going to eat as much. I'm not going to eat no bread this week. You know, just try. Take some of your power back. Some people
Yeah.
just total slaves. I don't know why. I don't know why. I can't do that. My feelings, you know. No. Just try it, man. You're more powerful than you think. Just something, you know. Just say, okay, I'm going to commit, because in order to accomplish the goal, you really have to master feelings, where you put feelings on the back burner and you do what's necessary. You do what you have to do, and you do it. You know, listen, Heisey, we got to go.
We got to go. You
All
got
right.
somebody down. You got somebody coming into the office.
Yes.
You know,
because they're doing the wills and trusts. And
Yeah, I still, when people like they want to come in, you know, I'm like, dang, I can't. I can't. That was 2019.
Yeah. But this person
It's 2023. Let them come in now,
like
right?
Mario said, at a certain age.
Oh, they're over 50.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So next week we'll be here.
Yes.
No, wait. I think I'll have you out of town next week. You won't be here next
I
week.
gotta go speak in Houston on
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
So next Wednesday, you won't be here.
No, I won't.
You won't.
But I'll be here Saturday.
You'll be here Saturday. This Saturday.
Yes.
So this Saturday, tune in at 9 a.m. in the AM for the Understanding Money Show with Mr. Robert Henderson Jr. and James T. Thomas. And then next Wednesday, we will not be here. But the following Wednesday, we will be here. That following Wednesday is going to actually be 2 days after Goddess Day.
Oh.
August 9th. We'll be back on August 9th.
All right.
All right. Until then, y'all stay safe and stay sane. Peace.
Peace.